This is John Edmond here with the Apartment Association of California Southern Cities, and with our wonderful vendor and someone who has done classes in education for many of our members. So if you don't know about Miko development, today we're going to learn everything there is to know about Michelle and her company. So Michelle, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I've never been part of a podcast before.
Is this your first podcast?
It is.
Maybe, hey, if we do a good enough job, you got to put it on your website, all right?
Perfect.
Share the joy. But,
Yes.
Look, I just want to ask you, I find it fascinating. What got you into construction? How did you fall into this? You're now a CEO of your own company. Mm-hmm. Tell me your origin story. If you were like Superman or Superwoman, what is your origin story? How did it all get started?
Yeah, so I called my dad one day. I was really sick of working for corporate America, and I was like, I think I might want to go back to school to be an architect. And he's like, well, why? And I didn't have a good answer for him. And so his friend that's an electrical contractor gave me a call, and he's like, what excites you about it? And I was like, creating and building something. It's like really very cool to me. And he said, no, you don't want to be an architect. You want to be a contractor. Go start working in construction.
Awesome.
So first job in construction, besides like doing handy lady things here and there, I was like painting,
handy lady, I love that.
cleaning out people's backyards. Anything I could do. I worked for a contractor as a project manager. And so my first day on the job, I got yelled at by a city inspector.
Did you really?
Yeah, he ripped me a new one. I just took notes and yes, sir.
That's the right choice. Yep. Yes.
So that contractor got asked to go work for a guy who owned a few apartment buildings that needed to do the soft story retrofitting. And so he and I went together kind of as a team. And after we did his buildings, we did his friends' buildings, and we had created a company.
Wow.
And after working there for a little bit, I realized structural work is my favorite thing to do. I love collaborating with engineers, and I'm kind of a nerd. I like to know how things work. I'm a little bit of an inventor. I always have something on my mind. Anyone that knows me is like, oh, what's she inventing today? And no patents yet, but maybe someday.
Patent pending.
Yeah.
They're all here.
Yes. So, I felt that I could provide a service that puts clients first, their tenants first. Everybody needs to have a good feeling and relationship with the construction project going on, and I have created that. I love to help people, so getting pushed into spaces where people are required to do a project, I like to be there to be that voice of education and reason so that people don't get taken for a ride by the wrong person.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And there are, I would just say, and maybe this is anecdotal, but there's not that many woman-owned construction companies. Do you see a distinction and a difference with sort of your leadership style and what you see in the industry versus kind of what's been out there in terms of having a change? Look, you have a cute cat logo, as we can see right here. I'm assuming, do you have a cat named Miko? How did the Miko come about?
Yes, my Siamese cat, Miko.
There you go.
Yes. So he's named after the Pocahontas' raccoon.
Fair enough.
In Algonquin, it means mischievous one. So it's kind of a fun name.
That is a fun name.
But yeah, I think as part of being like a woman, I think more of my background is like coming from corporate America a little bit. Mm-hmm. Since I worked for a big Fortune 500 company, I got all of those management and leadership skills there. Mm-hmm. And I've brought them into my company. So it's important to me to have a good working environment for my employees, and that reflects into the field, being respectful with tenants, being respectful with owners.
Right.
I hear so much, oh, your team was so great. We're so happy that they were here today. And, oh, they did this for me too. They're not supposed to do that. But
right.
They do.
But they did anyway, right?
But I think processes and procedures and making things streamlined is kind of my strength. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that has to do with being a woman.
Your background and experience, that's a part of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had imposter syndrome when I started because that's pretty normal for someone
starting a business, right?
And I was like swinging a hammer every day. I was working with the crew at first. And
now I think what was your biggest regret that you didn't start it sooner? I tell people who start entrepreneurship, when you work for corporate America and you leave corporate America to start your own company, you have new problems, but they're good problems because they're your problems, right? They're not necessarily your boss's problem or, all this hierarchy and generality. But was that transition easy for you, or was it like a hard road and then you had some bumps along the way? I mean, everybody has bumps, but have you felt that was an easy transition?
I think for me, I kind of take every day as it comes. I'm pretty adventurous. I think timing is everything. I don't think that I started too soon or too late. I mean,
it's just on time.
Right.
There you go.
COVID kind of threw me for a loop.
Sure, threw everyone for a loop. Whereas I feel like we're still recovering from COVID.
I got my license and did a few projects, and then my next 4 projects I was supposed to start, the owner called me and said, "Hey, hold off. We're going to sell those buildings."
Oh, wow.
And so I kind of struggled and worked really hard, and I had done an educational class right before everything shut down, and that kind of saved me and got me through.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it was interesting. I think if you could survive COVID, you can survive anything, right?
Yeah.
Like in terms of economic hardships. So look, from also what I'll say too is, I mean, you have a specialization, right? So, contractors like to just do all jobs. We can do this, we can do that, we can do everything. What I know of your company, you really specialize with multifamily housing. And you have a really great understanding of all that goes into it. What it makes multifamily housing, contracting and development different than, say, single family or other types of contractors?
So to me, multifamily, it's a business, right? It's a business-to-business relationship. When you're working on somebody's home, it's a little bit more emotional. So I'm there to make things nice and to also be budget-wise and help the, multifamily landlords save money and also give the tenants, a good service. So I think finding that balance working with multifamily is really important, and also working with preventative maintenance. So,
we're getting into that. Yes.
You got to make sure that people are educated. It's important.
Yeah. It's funny because many times, a lot of problems that come our way to manage with tenants where it usually stems from one little instance a long time ago that didn't get addressed correctly. Talk to me a little bit about, when you talk about maintenance and deferred maintenance and planning and kind of putting together the difference between like an inspection report versus, all the different tools that are out there. From a property manager and owner of a multifamily units, what have you seen in terms of trends or, sort of experience in the business, right? As you said, it's a business-to-business transaction. What are some key bedrock, cornerstones that you would wish you could impart on every property owner that you ever meet?
I think the most important thing that you can have is a fresh set of eyes, because if you walk your building every week, you're not going to notice the crack here. You just keep walking by it. When I come to your property, I'm going to notice every little crack. I'm going to notice every little flashing error, things that are going to cause structural problems in the future. My idea is to stop them before they start. So I think an asset walk is definitely something that everyone could use.
Absolutely. And I would say too that sort of it impacts everything. So it impacts habitability and renting in the upper market. So people have come accustomed and expected to see the condition of the property to be a certain way, right? It speaks a certain. It also impacts insurance. Now you've got drones flying around and picking out all the cracks on the sidewalks, and they really do kind of like a remote inspection some of the times, and people can see their premiums get out of control, and they'll literally say, "We've canceled your policy. If you want it back, you got to fix these 15 things, right, about the roof and all this sort of stuff." We've seen that, which is remarkable, but it is it's something that had a compounding kind of building up to that moment, right, in many cases. And then conversely, and I think you can speak a little bit to this, but unpermitted work, right? People who are do-it-themselfers, who, kind of take on a project that really should involve a contractor and getting the appropriate city permits. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think one thing is the deck and balcony repairs going on. You have to have a permit to do any waterproofing. And there are still companies out there telling owners, no, you don't have to get a permit. And the reason we're in this mess with all of the reporting and people having to spend extra money on, maybe your building is taken care of and you've been doing all of this preventative maintenance, but people who have been having their handyman go to Home Depot and get paint for their deck, no paint at Home Depot can be used on a deck.
Right.
So that's kind of created a lot of issues. And if, I always say you can always afford to do it right the second time.
Yeah.
But why spend the money?
Why spend the money the first time not getting it right?
So.
Yeah, it's funny. People ask me, what do you need a permit for? And I said, well, technically, just to paint your property, you need a permit. Just to change a toilet, you need a permit. What people don't realize is it actually protects them, right? It protects them because if it's work that is not done correctly, the contractor can come back to them. So one of the things that it does, it actually protects people from further action from the city, and it protects them for insurance. It protects them from a lot of things to be able to go through that. But everybody is also afraid. Like I've been, and I won't say what city, but I've been there where they're like, okay, you got to do a demo permit. You got to do a certificate where you have to put a deposit down, as for making sure that you do recycling. But we don't need to do these. Like we see it in the plans that we're going to approve this, but you don't need to pull these other permits because you've got enough here, which allows the inspector to come out. And when they come out, they want to make sure everything's done. Like they'll work with you. It's not every circumstances where they're going to literally get you like a paint wall permit and like really ratchet it up. What I will say though is if you do unpermitted work, and tell me if you've experienced this before, and they catch you, then there's no discretion given. It is very copious, and it becomes very painful for people to get out from the ire of that because they don't trust the process, or they don't trust the contractor, or they don't trust the investment property owner that they're actually doing what they say they're going to do. So have you experienced that as well?
Yeah, you actually touched on some things that made me think a little more. If you're using an unlicensed person to do work, then you don't have a bond to call on. You don't have any workmanship.
That's right.
Penalty. So the statute, if I mess something up,
you're
I'm
on the hook
for 10 years.
Yeah.
So you lose that when you're not working with a licensed person. If you don't have the city there checking the work, you don't have that extra set of eyes. But everyone is so worried about the inspector going, oh, but what about this over here, and creating more work. But there's the housing inspector that's looking for those types of tenant habitability issues. And then there's the building inspector who's only really going to point something out if it's a life and safety issue.
That's right.
Outside of it.
That's absolutely right. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but I spent some time working at City Hall in Long Beach. And there was this horrific fire where 3 young girls died in an illegal dwelling, like a garage. It didn't have windows. It only had one door. And they were basically trapped in there. And it was devastating. And what we were able to do is we did a amnesty. So anybody that has an illegal dwelling, you can get it upgraded without having to be penalized or any kind of fees or anything, and it would be treated by a standard of the minimum. So we'd have to maybe raise a window so people can jump out, and or that type of stuff. And it was very successful. We had I think it was over 200 applications over the life of the program. What I asked for was when the planner gives you need a smoke detector, you need, the height of the window and how far off things are from the ground and stuff like that. We called it Aliva's Law, right? Or Aliva's Ordinance, which gives the why behind what it is that they're doing. They're not just indiscriminately creating, problems. It has to do with health and human safety, right? They want to make sure that people are safe. And that also goes to liability, because if there's unpermitted work and there is something that's wrong and knowingly did, there could be a problem there as well. So I always tell people, you get a specifically for electricity, anything, these are things you don't want to have your Uncle Joe come by and figure it out, right? So talk to me a little bit about SB 721 and SB 326 and the work that you do with those. So first, what are they?
Yeah.
Why does it matter? And there's pros and cons, I know, but you do provide that service.
Well, in 2015, there was a balcony collapse in Berkeley, and I've read the FEMA report. There was a lot of dry rot. What happened is the plywood that was used was OSB, which is the oriented strand board. And the system that was used on top of that did not allow for OSB. And then the stucco was all sealed. The waterproofing was all sealed. So that plywood was still wet it acted like a sponge and soaked up all the rainfall. And so now it's a very humid and wet environment and let the dry rot grow. So it created this dangerous situation, and there were reports where it was actually starting to lean. There were mushrooms growing on the side of it. Like all of these signs that maybe could have even been prevented if somebody had just paid attention to the complaints. So that's...
There were actually complaints made too?
There were complaints
that's
made.
terrible.
So it was a huge...
And there were people who lost their lives, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were from Ireland, which is where my family hails from.
Hi, I'm Scottish.
Oh.
So we both really must like each other because we both don't dislike the English, right?
There you go.
I'm just joking. It's a funny old joke that my dad would say, but anyway.
Yeah. So that all happened, and so this law got put into effect to create a safer situation. So the public has a right to safety, and so as a multifamily provider or like housing provider, you have to make sure that you have safety for your tenants. And this law is to inspect balconies and decks, walkways, anything that's over 6 feet from the ground that could collapse, that the railing could give way, somebody could fall from. And a lot of companies have jumped into this. You know, they were like, oh, what a great opportunity to make some money.
Sure.
I heard about
Mandated
it.
by the government.
Yeah. I said, I don't want anything to do with it. There's going to be all these people jumping in.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I couldn't just stay away from it because I have clients who came to me for my guidance and my help, and I helped them. I've created a process that's a little bit different, where I open a 3-inch hole. A lot of people are using borescopes. Some people are doing these, what I've called drive-by inspections, where they're charging a couple $1,000s to give you a report. But they don't look at any of the joists. They use a moisture meter. I can't remember the last time I could see termite damage or dry rot with the moisture meter. So they really need to have the stucco opened in order to actually
get in there and look at it. Yeah.
The condition of the joist.
Sure.
And so I've had experience where there was one building, it had been redone by a licensed contractor.
Where it was fixed.
With no permit.
Oh.
No flashing added on the wall, no flashing added on the door thresholds. We were there a year and a half later. There was so much dry rot under that door threshold, it collapsed.
Wow.
And so when people argue with me and tell me you don't need to open the bottom, I will never sign a report. I will never let my engineer sign a report where we did not look at the joists and the condition of the wood.
That's smart.
Because when you get an inspection done by one of these companies who popped up overnight to do the reports, what's going to happen when you have an accident? They're not going to be around.
No.
They're protected by their corporation they created. They made all of their money. They're on vacation.
Yeah.
So it's really important to find a company who's going to be around. And then once you receive your report, what I've kind of realized is that people don't know what to do with them. And so if there are no repairs needed and everything turned out great, you just hold on to it until the next inspection round. When we write our reports, we put in preventative maintenance repairs or regular repairs and then immediate threat repairs. And so you'll have actually a checklist for your property of what to do. If you need to do top coat sealant, if you need to do some caulking, or if you need to do full replacement, replace all the plywood, check the framing, it'll say that in our report. A lot of the reports I receive are 400 pages of
nonsense. Yeah.
So I'm trying
a lot of cut and paste.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like my mission with the SB stuff to make sure that people understand the roadmap to compliance. The report is not the goal.
Right.
Safety is the goal.
Correct.
So
minimizing liability.
Change our
Yeah.
mindset here, and like, you know, if you get your report and you don't understand what it says, have somebody come and read through it and explain it to you, meet you at the property. If they don't have time to do that after you paid them $6,000 to spend 2 hours at your property, then find a different company to do it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's a mixed response. So a lot of people understood it, were more than happy to get it done right. And it sounds like you're not doing the minimum, you're going above and beyond. I also think what that does is it gives the property owner a lot of confidence and protection, right? So that people can't say it was this or that when you already have it documented so well. And to your point, opening up and getting a look, right? That's like, it's like someone diagnosing a your car and not even looking in the engine, right? So the fact that, there are those that do, to your point, do drive-bys really does a disservice for everybody, right? And I think, there are a very, 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 very small group of people that are actually frustrated that they even have to do it to begin with. And it's nonsense. What happened there doesn't happen here. It doesn't rain here, compared to Oakland. Like, I've heard it all. But what I said is that, put it on your side, right? If it was your family, if it was someone you loved, and, it's your property, you're providing a service, and you want to be in a way where you can manage that and make sure that it's safe and habitable for everyone. And I think when people kind of talk through it, they feel a little bit more. Some people don't, but most people get it, but you kind of have to take a little while to get there. It's sort of like the ordinance with the fire and illegal dwellings. What I'll ask you, when someone writes that report, do you have a conversation with them about when because I think it sounded like there were 3 stages, or like things that immediately need to be addressed that are health and human safety concerns, things that are well past their life that they need to start either fix or fix soon. And then there's things that you need to keep an eye on that we can relook at. How often should somebody get a property inspection report or to look at their property for maintenance? Because like, it's funny, like the maintenance, to your point, if they have a maintenance person or they have someone who's very hands-on, they're used to what they see. They don't know what to look for in many cases because they've already, I patched that, I did that. And so they're not looking at the same way compared to someone like yourself that would come in and look at it. How often should somebody, is it like every year, every 2 years, every 5 years? What would you recommend?
I think at least every 5 years. I don't think you have to go crazy with it, but if you have an area of stucco that you keep patching, there's something
else going on.
Like don't keep patching.
It'll go away. It'll go away if I keep doing this. Yeah.
Like one thing is like we fix a lot of stucco on the bottom of buildings where it meets the pavement or the sprinkler is spraying on it or the concrete is sloped towards the building and stucco just soaks it up and then drips it off, and that needs a weep screed at the bottom. That's an easy fix. Yeah. So you fix it once instead of over and over again. So getting a full building inspection, like I would just, you could do it every 6 years. Put it with your balcony inspection,
I would say it's probably a better question to say, do the highly recommended things first. Like put it on a budget, get it done. Right. They don't go away, right? And to address it. How would somebody work with you? Like, well, let me ask you, what is I know your specialization is in multifamily real estate, and it made perfectly a lot of sense as to why that is your sort of, area of focus. But what are the kind of the breadth and range of services that you provide, and what's your sweet spot? I mean, what is it? I know that creating balconies to be compliant is a high priority, especially with the timeliness that it needs to be completed or done already, and many people are not there yet, right? Or had unpermitted work done and having to come back and do it the second time, as you say, right? Yeah. What is your area of specialization that you like, and then also what are the other services that you provide as well?
Yeah, so I'm a C8 contractor as well, so I do concrete flat work, I can do spall repairs, anything structural, but I'm a full gamut, I'm a general contractor. If I like you a lot, I'll do anything for you.
Yeah, I hear you.
So waterproofing, remodels, and turnovers, we're probably not going to be the cheapest for turnovers, but we'll pull the permits and we'll
get the
do
job
everything the right way. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to look like a new home. We do a lot of stucco repairs. That kind of goes with structural. I mean, usually water intrusion is through stucco, and we'll take care of all of that. So, yeah, kind of our array of things we do. And
what's the best way to work with you? Like, so if somebody, obviously, you'll come out and you'll do an estimate? Is it like, what's the best way to, if I've got an issue, it sounds like no problem, small or large. So if you need a total, build ground up development, they can call you. If you need, something's going on with one of your wall needs repaired, you can do that. But what would be the best way to contact you and approach you? And how many people do you have on your team?
Yeah, so I have a gal in the office that helps me out. She also helps with field inspections sometimes. She can go out and measure, take details for me. And And then I have 8 guys on the field. So I have my own employees that work for me, and we have trucks and tools. We have a whole warehouse. And the best way is just to have me over to your property, you know? I love to meet new people, and, you know, looking at it with my eyes firsthand is the best way to give a bid. I love to, you know, solve problems. Part of that inventor in me.
Yeah. Ease, speed, and predictability. You get it easy.
I'm pretty old school. I'm not like big on social media and all of that. I mean,
well, neither am I. We're working on it.
Yeah, this AI
we're working
stuff,
on it. I know.
Not keeping up.
Get a podcast, do the thing. I'm like, well, look, I wouldn't have met Miko the cat. I wouldn't have met you. I actually kind of like it. We've just started this, but I think it's important, especially in a world that's so noisy, right? We get like top line Iran and whatever's going on, and then county and stuff. But we have to connect with people, and I think for our members, I mean, this is for everybody. It's not just our members, but you know, you've made an investment back into our community. You know, I want to thank you for the classes that you've provided. You've always been really consistent in supporting our organization. And, you know, I hope for sure if any member has any issues that are needing, please keep Miko in mind and Michelle here for your services that you would need for your multifamily property, and with property managers too. You work with property managers as well, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Property managers, property owners. We like to be in the South Bay, Long Beach.
South Bay, Long Beach. That's the only place. Torrance. We like that too.
Come on, stop by.
We'll go down to Orange County a little bit, and maybe LA. We got a few members in Santa Monica, a few members all over the place. But obviously, you know, Long Beach is where most of our members are from. And
I live in Long Beach.
Yeah, same here. So we all love Long Beach.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: is there anything that you would like to share that we haven't shared so far about you or your company?
I guess just mostly that I'm like pretty old fashioned. I'm like a girl, but I like think of me as an old man contractor. Like,
old man contractor.
You know, like I come from Iowa. I have very like, you know, old school values, and I'm here to have fun. I'm not here to become a millionaire.
Were you born and raised in Iowa?
I was born and raised in Iowa.
When did you come out here?
In 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're a new transplant.
Well, new-ish.
Listen, in Long Beach, if you don't have like a Wilson or a Poly story, so like I went to college at Cal State Long Beach, undergraduate and graduate, but like it's like I'm Long Beach, but I don't have a high school story. You know, I was in West LA High School in Los Angeles, so Long Beach is very like. Which high school did you go to? It's like none. Wow, you're new, and I'm like, oh, I've lived here like more than my life.
I ask people like when they're like very helpful at like a store or like anywhere I go, I'm like, where'd you go to school?
Yeah.
Go to high school, because like, you know, I'm gonna have kids. Where do I want them to go?
Yeah.
How do I have them turn out like you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have a great school system in Long Beach. Long Beach is great. I love Long Beach. You know, I go to LA a lot, but it's a lot of traffic. I mean, LA is beautiful too, but it's just a lot of busyness going on. And is your dad in construction as well, or is it just you're in this space all on your own? You're the first kind of licensed contractor? Yeah,
so I grew up in the house that my grandfather built. And so he was a builder. My father worked for the like farm service agency and then farmed on the side, but then in Iowa, when somebody's building something, the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, everyone shows up, right?
So,
yeah.
Oh, they're putting on a new roof. Come on, Michelle, grab a hammer. Let's go. Oh, we're doing concrete over here. And oh, today we're going to go drive the pilot car. We're moving a house down the road. It's just, you know, such a great community. And I think I've been in California for like, you know, a few years now. And I'd say the South Bay, Long Beach, it's just the community here is like the best in Southern California. I love it. So much support. Like if I tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm in Torrance. Oh great, I want to work with a South Bay contractor. It's so like fulfilling.
It is. It is. It's great. All right. Well, listen, Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And, you know, like I said, we'll put this out on our social things, but I do want to encourage all of our members and non-members, and for those that are seeing it in the interwebs, in the internet, give her a call, give her a ring. I actually want to talk to you about this building. I'll introduce you to the general manager, because there's things that are needing done all the time. So I'd love to put you on that rotation.
Yeah.
And I think you have a really great story and a great company identity. I mean, Miko the cat looks great. Is this for us, or are you taking it back?
Oh, he's our mascot.
Oh, he's okay. He comes everywhere with you?
Yeah.
And I love the logo, by the way, too. I love the logo. It's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is John Edmund here. Thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you, Mr. Miko Cat. And definitely try them out. Give them a call. We're going to provide their website and their phone number below. And that's all for now. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
See you soon.
Hopefully.